there is no system in technical analysis, no other methodology in technical analysis where the rules and guidelines are so strict and precise. In Elliott wave, you get the rules of 1 pip or 1 tick to tell you are completely wrong. That means that you get for the only way to know when your position is wrong, when you can put your stop in the perfect place. Because typically, what's the problem with stops? Stops, prices go, take your stops, and then they go on the way that you intended. And then you are left behind with frustration, right? Well, that doesn't happen with the wave principle because there are clear rules that tell you if prices go 1 pip below or above here, you're wrong. Your pattern is not what you thought it was. Nothing in technical analysis does that. The only one that does that is the wave principle. So to say this is too subjective for me is quite inappropriate, let's say. So why the rules help us define the trend? Well, yesterday we saw that, right? We said that those rules are absolutely imperative to learn by heart because they govern everything in the wave principle. And the most important thing is that they will help you define the trend. Why? Well, because we said that we don't define the trend as higher highs and higher lows or lower lows and lower highs, but we define the trend by an 8-wave cycle. 5 waves in one direction, 3 waves in the opposite direction. So when we have this, we say the trend is down. When we have this, we say the trend is up. Okay, so the problem is that the first part of this 8-wave cycle is a 5-way move. And that 5-way move must follow the rules. Because if those 5 waves don't follow the rules, then this cannot be taken seriously to consider the trend as up, or the previous example, the trend as down. So those rules are imperative. Now the question, of course, arises, well, why so much importance on the trend? Well, because the trend is a movement that persists in one specific direction. So the key here is that it persists. So when you trade, you want to trade in the direction of the trend. You want to trade in the direction of the movement that you know will persist in time. And in order to do that, you need to learn how to identify the trend. And in order to learn how to identify the trend, you need the 8-wave cycle. And in order for the 8-wave cycle to qualify as a proper identification of the trend, you need to have an impulse on the left side that actually follows the rule. And that impulse is followed by a corrective structure, an ABC. And that impulse must follow the rules. And that's the reason why we need to have those 3 rules. Remember, wave 2 can never travel more than 100% the distance traveled by wave 1. Wave 3 is never the shortest, and wave 4 can never end in the price territory of wave 1. So when we have this, we do have a perfect identification of the trend if this part followed the rules. Now the questions here on the head and shoulders. I see you were saying where would the target be for the head and shoulders? Well, for the head and shoulders, the target typically is that, let me go back to it. Well, actually, we can do it here. Let's say that this is the left shoulder. Okay, this is the head and this is the right shoulder. Okay, and we have the trend line that connects the dips between the left shoulder and the head and the next dip between the head and the right shoulder. So in this case, it would be this one, right? So you connect those and you measure the distance from the top, from the head, all the way down, all the way down to the neckline. Oh, it's not doing it. See? Oh, there it is, to the neckline. So then you take that, you put it right where the prices broke the neckline, and that is your projection. This is the ideal projection for the head and shoulders, and this would be the place where you would consider buying, of course, if you get a buy signal. So that I hope that answered to your questions. All right, so now that you know the importance of those rules and the identification of the trend and why do we want to identify the trend and all that, I want to show you the 13 patterns that Elliott identified. So I copy them here because I said, okay, that's much easier. Let's copy that. Okay, so here there are impulses, which we have spoken already about, zigzags, flats, double zigzags, ending diagonal triangles, expanded flats, contracting triangles, triple zigzags, leading diagonals, running flats, barrier triangles, expanding triangles, running triangles. Now this sounds like, oh my God, do I have to learn all that? And the answer is, well, yes. But if you try to learn it like this, you're going to go nuts. You're probably not going to remember. If I take this away right now, let's say that I do like this, and I ask you to repeat 10 of them, you probably won't be able to do that, right? Even if I show you again, if I were to show you them again and give you a minute to memorize them and then take them away, you probably won't remember 10 of them. So what we do is to try to do this in a very systematic way. Instead of learning 13 patterns like that in a disorganized way, we divide them into two modalities, and that's what we spoke yesterday. We said motive waves and corrective waves. All right? So under motive waves, we discussed the impulses. And now you know exactly what an impulse is that 5-wave move that follows those 3 rules that we discussed. So under motive wave, we have impulses and diagonals. Diagonals are a type of motive wave. It means that it develops in 5, and it means that it moves in the direction of the main trend. The only difference is that they don't follow these 3 rules that we discussed. Let's write here a D, so you remember diagonals. They follow their own rules, but we won't discuss them today until we discuss diagonals, and we want to make sure that you actually grasp and understand everything there is to know about impulses, because impulses are the ones that are going to really save you. Why? Because when you recognize an impulse that follows those 3 rules and is followed by 3 waves in the opposite direction, you have a trade setup, and it's a trade setup that will likely work. So you will put the odds in your favor. And that's the reason why you need to learn everything that you can about impulses. And that's why I'm going to insist so much about impulses. So then we have corrective waves. For corrective waves, we basically have 3. And this is really easy to remember, because you remember that we said that corrective waves developed in 3 waves, right? They seem to be unable to oppose the forces of the trend. So they are unable to develop into 5. So let's say that the trend is up, right? And then when prices start coming down, they want to go like that, but they try to develop in 5 and they can't, and they go back up, right? Because the underneath forces of the trend are to the upside. So corrections always develop in 3. And we use ABC to label them. So it's easy to remember that corrections are of 3 types. Okay, one is called the zigzag, the other is called the triangle, and the last one is called the flat. Okay, so now we have only five different patterns here. But very easy to remember because we have framed them. You know, we put them into an easy way to recognize them, which is motive waves, the ones that move in the direction of the trend, and they are of two types, impulses or diagonals. And corrective waves, the ones that go against the trend, and they are of three types, 4 corrections. One is called zigzag, the other is called triangle, and the last one is called flats. Everything else is a variation of this. So when we say, for instance, let's go back to that list. When we say zigzags, okay, that's one of the corrections. But then we say double zigzags. Well, that's a variation of a zigzag. When we say contracting triangles, that's a variation of the triangle. When we say running flats, that's a variation of the flat. So basically, all we need to know is these 5 wave structures, only these 5. The rest are very easy because they are simple variations, sometimes very small variations of the main correction here. So let's not bother trying to learn all those 13 patterns and be all confused and abstract and lost in words, weird words, and instead let's use 5 structures. 3 of them are corrective structures, which are easy to remember because there are 3, okay, and corrective structure move in 3, and motive wave, which are impulses and diagonals. Okay, so now if I were to ask you, can you tell me 5 different structures that Elliott observed? I'm pretty sure that 90% of you, or probably even more, would be able to repeat motive and correctives, and from the motives, impulses and diagonals, from the correctives, zigzags, flats, and triangles, because it has been framed, easy to remember.